kindly permit to proceed
Yes, you
on behalf of plaintiff. I oblige. This plant is being presented before the court of third civil judge class 2. Case number 7/2024 dated 30/12/2024. Plaintiff is Mohan Lal, son of Ramlal, age 55 years, residence MP Nagar, Bhopal, versus Shyam Lal, son of Radhe Lal, age 50 years, residence of MP Nagar, Bhopal. Plaintiff under section 12(1)(a) and 12(1)(f) of MP Accommodation Control Act 1961. Following point are the points in favor of plaintiff. That is, the plaintiff is resident of MP Nagar, Bhopal and owner of the shop situated in front of DB Mall, MP Nagar, Bhopal. Second, that is, the plaintiff has let out this shop to Shyam Lal in July 2015 on oral ground at monthly rent ₹700. The tenancy starts from first day of every calendar month and ends at the ends of the last day of the month. That is, the defendant is running a business in the name of Style of Sachdeva Ready-Made Shop. That is, the plaintiff was working in a factory at Manditi, but due to closure of factory in year 2012, he has become unemployed. In order to earn livelihood, plaintiff became agent of LIC and hardly meeting the ends of family essential requirements. That is, the plaintiff is having a son aged about 20 years and got postgraduate degree, but he is still struggling for employment so that he may assist the family. That is, the plaintiff's son is planning to establish his own business and he is also ready to help him. That is, the plaintiff's ancestral property by partition with mutual consent has divided and now only this rented shop is under ownership. That is, the plaintiff is bona fidely in need of this shop because now plaintiff does not have any alternate reasonable, suitable, non-residential accommodation within the limits of Municipal Corporation Bhopal. And therefore, he is entitled to get vacant possession of his shop. That is, the defendant is habitual of committing default in payment of rent. The defendant is in arrears of rent from May 2016. That is, the plaintiff has issued a legal notice on dated 14/10/2018. But the same was received undelivered. Again, another notice was sent through council on 8th November 2018 by registered post and demanded arrears of rent and for handing over the vacant possession of the shop. That is, the defendant sent his reply on 28/11/2018 on the basis of incorrect facts and sent rupees 1400 by money order towards rent of 2 months. That is, the defendant falsely mentioned in reply that no rent is outstanding, while rent is due from May 2016. Even if the rent of 2 months is adjusted, defendant is still in arrears of rent from July 2016, and defendant has not paid the same even after receiving the notice. Prayer. That is, the plaintiff is entitled for decree of eviction and the same is humbly prayed on the ground of bona fide need. That is, the plaintiff is entitled to get the arrears of rent with interest, and that is, the plaintiff is humbly requested to get all other expenses as the Honorable Court may consider. In this regard, I would like to clear the statutes applicable under this plaint. First is Civil Procedure Code 1908, and this plaint is presented under MP Accommodation Control Act 1961 under section 12(1)(a) and 12(1)(f). So 12(1) states, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any other law or contract, no suit shall be filed in any civil court against a tenant for his eviction from any accommodation except on one or more of the following grounds only, namely, A. That the tenant has neither paid nor tendered the whole of the arrears of the rent legally recoverable from him within 2 months of the date on which a notice demand for arrears of rent has been served on him by the landlord in the prescribed manner. Second, section 12(1)(f), that the accommodation let for non-residential purpose is required bona fide by the landlord for the purpose of on continuing or starting his business or that of any his major son or unmarried daughters, if he is the owner thereof, or for any person for whose benefit the accommodation is held, and that the landlord owns or such person has no other reasonable non-residential accommodation of his own in his occupation in the city or town concerned. So, now I would like to draw your kind attention on the case laws supporting the plaint. First, Ashok Kumar Gupta versus Pradeep Gupta, 2016. And second one, Ramesh Chandra versus Pradeep Gupta. This was pleaded in High Court in second appeal number 188/2014. The summary of this case is in first step in trial court, third civil judge class 1 Morena MP under section 12(1)(f) and first appeal in the first additional judge Morena. Summary is this: Accommodation Control Act 1961, eviction sought by landlord in view of the fact that a partition wide exhibited P14 has taken place in the family, giving rise to an independent need. On the basis of aforesaid analysis, the trial court has also recorded a finding that the plaintiff have no other alternative accommodation for his need and has thereafter decreed the suit. The aforesaid finding has been affirmed and confirmed by the first appellate court. Decision of second appeal. The appeal filed by the appellant being meritless and are hereby dismissed. So, second case, Man Khan versus Dr. Keshav Kishore, High Court, Jabalpur, 2019. Decided by judgment and decree on dated 18/5/2017 in favor of appellant. Case law third is Swadesh Madhyam versus Shailendra Kumar Namdev, 2019. For bona fide need, passed decree judgment on 29 March 2019 in second appeal against judgment by 10th additional judge Rai. And fourth one is Supreme Court's SLP. Prem Narayan Barchiha versus Hukmuddin Saifi. Judgment on 31st July 1999. Second appeal in High Court, Jabalpur, 408/89. And this case was heard in trial court in second civil judge class 2 trial. Decided that the unemployed son to establish a provision store, no alternative, reasonable, suitable, non-residential accommodation is available, hence decreed to eviction. So, in this regard, I also present Annex A10, partition of the residential and non-residential property by his father. That's all.
With the court's permission, may I proceed with my arguments?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, friend. I am the counsel for the defendant. Humbly submit my arguments before this honorable court. Ma'am, this case involves a dispute between the plaintiff named Mohan Lal, age 55, son of Ram Lal. He is the owner of a shop situated in front of Divi Mall, MP Nagar, Bhopal. And the defendant named Shyam Lal, age 50, son of Radhe Lal, who is a tenant in the disputed shop. he was a tenant of disputed shop since 2016. He was a tenant. The shop originally rented out by the plaintiff's late mother Leelavati at monthly cost of 600 rupees per month, along with a security deposit of 20,000 rupees, which is not mentioned by my colleague. And over some period of time, the rent was increased to 700 rupees, which the defendant has been paying regularly. All the allegations of rent arrears made by the plaintiff are false and contends that no dues are outstanding. The defendant further denies the plaintiff's claim of bona fide necessity for eviction under section 12(1)(a) and 12(1)(f) of the Madhya Pradesh Accommodation Control Act 1961. The plaintiff, in reality, the plaintiff runs business including Life Insurance Corporation Limited, which is also mentioned by the sir, that he, after the closure of the factory, he becomes the agent of the Life Insurance Corporation Limited, and from an adjacent shop, and operates STD and PCO services also, rendering the claim of needing the shop for livelihood and for his son's business false. I also want to highlight that the plaintiff owns 2 other vacant shops and has let out another shop on the first floor after a period tenant vacated it in 2017. The plaintiff motive, the main motive of plaintiff is to increase rent from 700 rupees to 900 rupees. This is the main motive, and all the allegations which is made by the plaintiff are wrong. Further, I will try to explain with in page number 4, in the page number 4 of the file. The argument which is made by the plaintiff, which claims that arrears of rent section 12(1)(a), but ma'am, the plaintiff has not provided any valid evidence such as rent ledger or any signed agreement to prove that rent from May 2016 onwards has not been paid. There is not a single piece of paper submitted in this honorable court which clarifies that May 2016 onwards the rent has not been paid. The plaintiff claims rent from May 2016 has not been paid. I have also highlighted in the file in the page number 10. I request you please open page number 10, where the plaintiff held that after in the downside of the para, after receiving the notice, the defendant had sent 1400 rupees by money order towards rent of 2 months, which was received by the plaintiff. In one side, the plaintiff said that the rent is undue from 2 years, and in one side, the plaintiff itself accepted that he received 1400 rupees by money order. 1400 rupees means 2 months of rent. And in the case of Kailash Chand versus Dharamdas, All India Report 1984, MP 34, the Madhya Pradesh High Court held that vague allegations of rent arrears, unsupported by evidence, cannot be basis of eviction under section 12(1)(a). Furthermore, I also want to highlight one more point, which is the defendant has stated that 20,000 was taken as a security deposit by the late mother of the plaintiff, Leelavati. But this amount does not adjusted in the alleged errors before claiming eviction under section 12(1)(a). And ma'am, in the case of Rajendra Kumar Gupta versus Major Girdhar Singh, All India Report 1998, MP 138, in this case, the court clearly held that any advance or security deposit taken by the landlord must be considered before initiating any eviction suit. But in this case, the plaintiff does not consider the advance amount and directly file the eviction suit. Furthermore, I also want to highlight the notice. Ma'am, the notice was received by the defendant on 12 November 2018, and the defendant replied to the notice on 28 November 2018. Ma'am, please focus on the time period. Within 16 days, my client has replied to the notice of the plaintiff. It clearly shows that my client is paying regular rent, but all the allegations of arrears of rent made by the plaintiff was false. And in fact, not just give the reply of the notice, He also sent 1400 rupees by money order, which clarifies that my client is paying the rent on a regular basis. All the allegations made by the plaintiff are false. And the further, I also want to highlight the essential elements of 12(1)(a), in where it is clearly mentioned in page number 3 that there shall be a 2 months of period. The tenant must fail to pay the arrears within 2 months of receiving the notice. That means the defendant shall have to pay the rent within 2 months, but my client gave the reply to the notice within 16 days. And in the page number 7, ma'am, the second major argument which is mentioned by the plaintiff, which is section 12(1)(a), bona fide requirement. But the reality is bona fide requirement is not genuine. There is a speculative nature of proposed business. The plaintiff claims that he wants the shop back because he wants to start as STD PCO business. Ma'am, we are in 2018. Jio launched in 2017. After launching the Jio, I have never seen any STD PCO businesses are getting so much high nearby our houses or nearby our workplaces. I have never seen any STD PCO businesses. And in the case of SR Radhakrishnan versus Neelam Megam, All India Report 2003 SC 4369, in this case the court held that bona fide requirement must be genuine and cannot be pretext to evict the tenant. Speculative business proposals are insufficient for the eviction of the tenant. And I also want to highlight that alternative accommodations are available. The defendant had stated that 2 other shops belonging to the plaintiff are lying vacant. Additionally, the plaintiff owns a shop adjacent to the disputed shop where they are already running businesses such as LIC. It is also mentioned by the plaintiff that he becomes an agent of the LIC corporation, which is I have already highlighted in page number 10. In the upper side of the para, the plaintiff become agent of Life Insurance Corporation Limited, which indicates that there is no bona fide requirement. The plaintiff is already an employed person. And in the case of Ram Prasad versus Sundarlal, All India Report 1995 MP 46, in this case the Madhya Pradesh High Court clearly held that if the landlord has alternative accommodations available, the claim of bona fide requirement is not maintainable. In the end, ma'am, I just want to say that the real reason behind filing this suit is the plaintiff wants to increase the rent from 700 rupees to 900 rupees, and the real reason behind this suit is he wants to create pressure on my client. He wants to pressurize my client to pay the enhanced rent from 700 rupees to 900 rupees. There is a malafide intention. And in the case of Abdul Hamid, which I have mentioned in page number 8, Abdul Hamid versus Nathu Lal, All India Report 1979, MP 74. In this case, the court ruled that malafide intentions of the landlord to pressurize tenants for rent enhancement disentitle the landlord from relief under section 12(1)(f). And ma'am, if this code permits for eviction of my tenant, I just want to say that he is a well-established businessman from 2015. And if this court ordered for the eviction, he will face a huge financial loss which affects him and his family alone. And I also want to refer one case law. In the case law of Ramesh Kumar versus Keshav Ram, All India Report 1992, SC 700. In this case, the court held that hardship caused to the tenant must be weighed against the landlord's alleged requirement, and eviction cannot be ordered if the tenant suffers any unnecessary loss. And I also want to highlight one last argument, which is the tenancy is oral and there is lack of evidence. The plaintiff has not provided any rent receipts, any tenancy agreements, or any document. Not a single piece of paper submitted by the plaintiff in this honorable court which substantiate their claim regarding arrears or bona fide requirement. Only oral arguments cannot sustain a claim under section 12(1)(a) and 12(1)(f). It is not said by me, it is said by court in the case of Anil Bajaj versus Vinod Ahuja. All India Report 2014 SC 2296. The burden of proof lies on the landlord to establish bona fide need and arrears of rent. Vague and unsupported claims are insufficient for the eviction of tenant. In page number 12, I have mentioned my prayer. I humbly praise that this honorable court may dismiss the plaintiff's suit for eviction on the grounds of lack of bona fide requirement as per section 12(1)(f) of the MP Accommodation Control Act 1961, as the plaintiff has alternative accommodations and the alleged requirement is not genuine but malafide. No valid arrears of rent under section 12(1)(a), as the defendant has already paid rent and the plaintiff has refused to adjust the security deposit of rupees 20,000. And I also want that this court declare that the tenancy continues and that the defendant is not liable for eviction, and issues direction for adjustment of the security deposit of 20,000 against the alleged arrears of rent, if any, and declare no arrears are due, and restrict the plaintiff from harassing the defendant by filing false suits or trying to increase the rent, and award cost of the litigation in favor of the defendant and against the plaintiff. And in the end, I just want to say that pass any order or direction as may be deemed fit and proper in the interest of justice and equity. Thank you so much, ma'am, for listening.
Whatever my able counsel for the defendant mentioned the dates of tenancy 2016 in place of 2015, but no proof is submitted along with this return. Second, he is saying we are regularly paying the rent, but no proof has been submitted. In our notice, by legal notice, it is mentioned that arrear from May 2016 is due, and as the matter is concerned to increase the rent, this tenancy was monthly basis, and it starts from the first date of the month and ends at the end of the month. And as per the MP Accommodation Control Act 1961, to increase the rent 10% per annum is mentioned in law itself. So this is not clear from where he assumed that rent will be increased 900 in place of 700. And whenever tenancy was given, this was the oral tenancy, and at that time he has not questioned. And he himself admits that 2 months rent by money order 1400. So it is very clear that rent was settled under mutual consent, the 700 rupees per month. And when this money order is received, plaintiff received it under protest. Kindly, it should be also looked into. And security deposit, as per security deposit of 20,000 is concerned, this is refunded at the time of eviction, not in in between of the tenancy. So, second matter, my learned counsel has pointed out that notice received on 12/11/2018 and reply submitted on 28/11/2018. But as per section 12(1)(a) is the legal arrear as should be paid within 2 months. Legal arrear as demanded by plaintiff should be paid within 2 months, not the reply of notice, and this reply is also given with incorrect facts. Second one, my defendant's learned counsel has pointed out that plaintiff is employed after the closure of factory. So, it should be clear that agent, LIC agent and employment both are different issues. Employment is other matter and agent of LIC only to convince people and get commission only. And as in plan, I have also mentioned that whatever commission he is getting, it is very less to fulfill the needs of his family requirements. So, alternative accommodation as per the matter concerned, I have submitted the partition between the family in Annexure 10. So, at present, plaintiff having only one shop which is rented in his ownership, and rest of the shops out of 3 he was distributed between other brothers by his father. So he and his son is major and post-graduated, and he proposed as a STD, PCO and electro estate shops. This is the option of his son. He proposed it, or he may plan any other business. This is the other issue. But there is no alternative reasonable accommodation available at present, because he has the only one shop in his ownership now. At the time when this shop was rented in 2015, no doubt they were joint family and there were 3 shops, but at present only one shop is in his ownership. So, kindly consider the fact in this matter.
Ma'am, I request you to please open the page number 7 of my file, where I have mentioned their alternative accommodations are available. There are other shops which are owned by the plaintiff. The defendant has stated that 2 other shops belonging to the plaintiff are lying vacant. Additionally, the plaintiff owns a shop adjacent to the disputed shop where they are already running businesses such as LIC, EPI and LPG. And the plaintiff has let out a shop on the first floor to a finance company after it was vacated by Dr. Megha Jain in 2017. This proves the plaintiff's claim of non-availability of alternative accommodation response. And the notice which my colleague have mentioned that in page number 5 I have also mentioned that the notice was received by the defendant on 12 November 2018 and the defendant replied to the notice on 28th November 2018 and there are 2 months of period which is already mentioned by the sir, but please calculate from 12th November 2018 to 28th November 2018. In my calculation, there is only 16 days. Within 16 days, my client replied to the notice, not only replied to the notice, in fact, paid the rent. And what is the reason after paying the rent? Why the suit is filed? Why? What is the main reason? There is a main reason is because the plaintiff do not want 700 rupees. He wants 900 rupees and wants to pressurize the tenant to enhance the rent. This is the main reason. And ma'am, sir continuously says that there are arrears of rent, but the plaintiff has not provided any valid evidence such as rent ledger or signed agreement to prove that from May 2016 onwards the rent has not been paid. But sir has also accepted that the plaintiff received 1400 rupees, which clearly shows that my client is paying rent on a regular basis. Thank you so much, ma'am. I don't want to say anything.
In addition, I want to add it. In Annexure 10, partition of residential, it is clearly mentioned in para 3, first floor, as the council stated that first floor is vacated and it is available. So, father of this Mohan Lal, in this partition at para 3, first floor of residential area will be under my control and distributed after my death. So it is not under his possession and ownership, he can use it as he wants, because his father banned it by this partition. So there is no other alternative reasonable available at the municipal corporation area Bhopal. So kindly be permitted.
Ma'am, in the end, I just want to say that if this court evict by client who is running a business from 2015 and if he was evicted by this court, then he don't have any other options left. But in the case of plaintiff, it was already admitted by the plaintiff that he is a agent of LIC corporation, which means that somewhere plaintiff is earning. There is no bona fide requirement, but in our defendant case, there is no other alternative options are available for him. Thank you.
Plaintiff's son is major and unemployed and he wants to settle his, establish his business, and there is no other alternate available for this.
Ma'am,
So kindly it may be permitted.
Ma'am, I just want to say that the son's education and qualification have not been substantiated with documents to prove that he is dependent on the plaintiff. There is not a single piece of paper which clarifies that the son of the plaintiff is the dependent on the plaintiff. Then how we can consider that he is graduated 20 years old and he wants to start a business of STD PCO, which is, I don't know what I can say. That's it.
This is not the matter of question. What business he wants to establish.
Ma'am, how then the bona fide requirement will be proved?
But
If this is not a matter of business.
First,
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
the son is unemployed and wants to assist his family by establishing any business. So there is no other alternative accommodation available. So currently it may be evicted.
Okay. That's it. No.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. May I proceed? In the Honorable Court of Civil Just Class Second, Dyson MP, suit number 37, 2016, year 2016. Premlal, son of Rajgopal Kumar, is 32 year, address Desh Bareilly district, Raisen package. Versus Dayaram, son of Ramani Kumar, is 35 year, address Desh Bareilly district, Raisen defendant, suit under order 7 CPC 1908. Sir, in the matter of plaintiff Premlal have filed a suit for declaration of ownership and also for the recovery of possession of the land bearing survey number 1011 area 8 acres situated in Desh Bareilly district, Raisen MP. Herein also referred to as the suit property against his cousin the defendant Dayaram. Second, according to plaintiff, suit property is the ancestral property of father F. 3. Later, F, his father was the owner as well as possession holder of the suit property. So, after the death of the plaintiff father in year 2011, plaintiff being the only legal heir of the deceased F become the owner of the suit property. 5. But defendant D in the contingent with revenue officer with intention to assert the suit property got matured in his name over the suit property. Through a further will dispose the plaintiff forcefully. 6. That the cause of action arose when the plaintiff in court to know about the mutation proceedings during Diwali festival on 25/11/2011 and also when defendant disposed plaintiff from the suit property on 2012/2011. Therefore, plaintiff had to file the suit for declaration of title with a consequential relief for recovery of possession against the defendant. 7. The government of MP through collector is also made a defendant, but no relief has been sought against the defendant. In matter dealing with SRA 1963, Section 5, recovery of specific immovable property. A person entitled to possession of specific immovable property may recover it in the manner provided the Code of Civil Procedure 19085 of 1908. Section 6, suit of a person disposed of immovable property. If any person is disposed without his consent of immovable property otherwise than in due course of law, he or any person through whom he has been in possession or any person claiming through him may by suit recover possession thereof, notwithstanding any other title that may be set up in such suit. Such no suit under this section shall be brought A after the expiry of 6 months from the date of possession, or B against the government on appeal shall lie for any order, decree passed in any suit institute under this section, nor shall any review of any such order or decree be allowed. Nothing In this section shall bar any person from suing to express his title to such property and to recover possession thereof. Case relevant Dasappa versus Sitaram on 60 December 1994. Relief Act section of the Specific Relief Act reads as under 5A person entitled to the possession of specific immovable property, language of subsection 4 of section 6 of the Specific Relief Act. Itself nothing in section 6 shall bar such a suit to establish. Evidence. Plaintiff examined himself and one more witness, W. Plaintiff substantially retired his pleading in his statement. He also added that the defendant, having misused the trust of his father, got fabricated a forged will in his favor by getting his father's signature on a blank paper. It is also averred that at the time of execution of said will, his father was not in a fit state of mind. Fourth, witness W supported plaintiff's contention that F was not in a fit state of mind in his last time. Plaintiff is the sole legal heir of the deceased. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Written statement. I am presenting under order number 8 of the Code of Sale Procedure Code 1908. Order number 8, rule number 1. Most respectfully, sir. Serial number 1. As per written statement of the defendant, plaintiff is not the owner of shoot. The shoot property was the self-acquired property of his uncle, plaintiff's father, and the uncle had bequeathed the land to him through a registered will, being happy with his services to his last days. Serial number 2. On the basis of said registered will dated 1/9/2010, he got his name muted in the records of shoot property. Serial number 3. Plaintiff never stayed with his father nor had provided him any help or cared for him in his lifetime. Plaintiff has no right over the shoot property, whereas he has a registered will in his favor. Serial number 4. Also, the shoot is hopelessly time-barred, as shoot is filed in the year 2016. Serial number 5. According to Indian law, there is usually a 3-year time to challenge a will. Serial number 6. This time limit starts from the days you find out about the will. If you find out late. Serial number 8. You will have proved to the court that there was a valid reason for the delay. Therefore, the time limit for filing the suit has already expired because the date of the will is started 1/9/2010 and suit is being filed by the plaintiff in 2016. New fact, order number 8, rule number 2. In this case, Raj Narayan Sharma versus Sirnam Sharma 2018, MP LJ 12 SC 2017 9 SCC 351. Suit for possession of dispute land. There is no documentary evidence to show that the plaintiffs are in possession of the suit property, and their case is only based on oral evidence, which is controverted by the defendant in their oral evidence. Defendant evidence. Serial number 1. The defendant in his statement supported that the fact pleaded in written statement. He is also supported by the execution of registered will in his favor by his uncle F, and further stated that the state of mind of F was fit at the time of execution of will. However, the plaintiff failed to produce any documentary evidence in support of his further ill health as to the source of the suit property. Serial number 2. The defendant also produced one more witnesses, WT2, who supported defendant's pleading that defendant is in possession of the suit property since 2011. However, the witness kept silent. Regarding execution of will, the defendant produced documentary evidence from D1 to D5 regarding the suit property, showing that the said land was purchased by F from his own earnings. The defendant has produced registered will X document 6 in his support.